right, and we're back. So as you can see, I have this part already assembled. As you can see, it can spin here freely. And the way that I inserted this whole assembly into the RA wheel is I just open it with my fingers. As you can see, it's so flexible that you can open it enough that you can slide it in, right? Um, so this is when you have the three-part component or a wheel. Um, let's see, when you have the single piece. The single piece. Oh, and this one already has something installed here. This specific component will help you to push the whole assembly a little bit inwards because sometimes it is a little bit too loose and it can slide in and out into this portion here, into this part. So that's why is the reason why I'm using this specific part. So let me put this one away for a moment. Here, so let's do it. So this one, it might be a little bit tricky because it's definitely sturdier than the other one and you don't want to break it or bend it, right? So let's see. So this one, nope, it's super strong. I don't want to break it, honestly, right? So what do you do in this one, right? When you have this single piece. So what I will do is I will remove this particular part, insert it first, and then attach these other components here. So that's what I'm going to do because, like I said, I don't want to break it. Not that I'm that strong, but I don't want to damage it. Probably I should say, right? So if I try to open it, pry it open as much as I can to try to fit the other part, I might create issues here. I might deform the part and might not work the way that is intended to be, right? So, like I said, it's very tricky. So that's what I will do. I'll remove this one or the other one, whichever you think is easier. Remove one or the other. Insert one side first, and then insert this one, and then just attach this part once again, right? So keep that in mind if you have this single piece. It's better if you do this than try to open it apart and you might damage it. Remember the reason why I had the cushion? This is exactly it. So the extrusion or the guider, whichever you have, is resting there and is not damaging itself or damaging this one. All right. So let's go back to the other part that we were using. Let's put this one to the side. All right, this one. So I printed those parts that I showed you earlier. I had them right here, right here. So they have a specific side. How'd they go? So there is a flat side. I don't know if you can see it here. There's a flat side. That flat side will go on top of the RA wheel. It will go right here. That's about it. And then we put this part once again in there. Like I said, you can see how flexible this thing is. It doesn't take any effort on my part to open it enough so I can slide apart. The bearing fell off, so I'm going to put it back. Okay, this one will still move here. Yep, it moved in there. So I'm just pushing these together right here. The bearing also slide out. Okay. All right. So we're definitely making good progress here. And the next component is the poles. Okay, so the poles are the ones that go at the back of the wheel. So for those, there's something as well to consider. So the parts that we will be using is the 0.5 pole and 0.05.1 pole. Okay, I have those already here, partially assembled. So I have those here. Um, and for these, the parts that you will need are, like I said, the 0.05 pole, 0.5.1, and they will be inserted into the RA wheel. So let's bring that back. Uh, Once again, this is so flexible. It came off on its own, not too hard really. Um, so what I do first is I put this together first and then I insert it. So the way that this works is, um, let's see, these parts, they have the poles have holes that are aligned to one another, so you can use then M3 screws to secure them to one another. So just insert this small side into the hole that we have here, So let's do that. Doesn't require too much force. And the same is what are we going to do with the other one, right? And that's basically it, right? And then you will secure it with screws that are holes in every pole, so you can secure them to this central piece and to one another. So this will create some rigidity uh, for the frame. I already have this part assembled, so that's the one I'm going to use. I have it here. It's already assembled, and as well, these poles have these poles have this part here. So what this will do is when the wheel is rotating, it will touch the bearing of the RA mount, and it won't fall off. So this is what this will be doing on either side, right? Uh, so the way that this goes is, if we can show here, um, maybe we'll need a little bit wider angle to show what I'm doing. Okay, so this side with these components, with this part, this is the top. If you're looking at from behind, what is the top is this parts right here, the ends, I guess, of the RA wheel. These are the ends. So these are the ones that will go there. So you just need to rotate it properly to match, and then you will just insert it into the holes. That's about it. Um, so in this case, the hole or this screw that goes on the inside. Let's see if I can show it. That goes on the inside. It's hard to see. Well, here, the one that goes on the inside is very tricky to secure. So what is recommended is not to use those. Right? If you can, for sure, go ahead. But it's not needed. And as well, that is mentioned in the instructions that the hole is it's closed, partially closed, so you don't necessarily need to do that. So you just insert the M3 screws, and that's what we are going to do now to finally give some rigidity to this frame because it's so wobbly. Let's see. No, I need longer screws. So the ones that we are going to need are M3 by 12s. So let me push these from the other side if I can. There we go. Longer. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. It's hard to show which one I'm using. Oh, this is too long. Where am I into the 12? There we go. That's in there. Next, some goes here. Probably another idea, good idea might be to remove this deck assembly, the whole thing. Um, but at the end, what this adding the poles will make it a little bit stiffer, so it might be harder to insert it later. So that's why this step is it's uh, one before then attaching the poles to the RA wheel. So that's there. Let's see, more here. What's happening here? Is it too short? Why? Okay, no problem. So we just secure it. And one more. All right, and we are done. Right. Something as well to consider here is, let's see if we can spin it. Yes. So spun around. So we need to fit, and so it's well balanced right now. So that's good for sure. All right. So moving on. Um, Next one is the pole mount. All right, so what are you going to need is the pole mount 6801 and the 6801 bearing. And like I said, I already had this assemble. If I can show it. So that is this component here. So I already had that already created. So this is that step. So in here is where you will insert the poles to the pole mount. And that is this here. Remember this step that we did where we inserted them? So after you attach the poles to the RA wheel, then is you insert this here to the pole mount. And you will insert the bearing, which is one of these. So this is the bearing. You will insert it. You just basically just, if I can show it here, you just push it in. That's it. Nothing else. If your tolerances are good on your printer, it should go in with no trouble at all. So that's what that step is. Moving on is we bring the whole base assemble or assembly. So that one is here. Bring the deck assembly, and the way that this goes is so we're in the step that is the front bearings. So let's not skip anything. For that, you will need the bigger bearings, right? So you will just insert them here. That's it. Once again, um, if your tolerances are good, and just should stay in place. Not too tight, not too loose, right? That's it. All right, moving on. Those bearings were the 6001, and the smaller ones are the 6801. All right. Next step is the stabilizer. Okay. So the stabilizer, it is this component right here. So the stabilizer, what this will do is will give a lot of rigidity to the frame, because even right now with the poles, it's still a little wobbly. You can still move it around and whatnot. So that's for sure something that we don't want at all. So this one is a little loose actually. Let's secure it better. This screw is a little bit loose, so you can see in there. All right. And for these, for the stabilizer, what you would need are the part 5.2 stabilizer and the M3 by 12. You will need 6 of those. And as you notice as well here, the poles have holes. So those holes are matching the ones that are in the stabilizer. So they will go just right there. Once again, this shouldn't be too tight. Right now, it's just very loose. But if you force this part, then something else might be wrong. Okay, so that's something important as well to consider. So let's get those. So what I will do is, let me get all the screws first. And the thread will be cut on the poles once you insert the screw. So in this case, since I already was using this part, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We're almost done, guys. We're definitely getting there. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So what I will do is I will insert the screw and I will just let it one part of the screw come out on the side. I can show it there. And I will insert it into the hole so I know where the hole is. Let's see if I can show it better. There. So I will align that tiny little part that is protruding from the screw with the hole. This slides so easily on my desk. This makes it a little difficult. There we go. Okay. Let me just put another one so it won't be swinging. The poles, if you can print them in PLA, for sure is the preferred material. I guess if you have one of those other exotic materials, I guess like carbon fiber or something like that, that may also work as well. Because what you want is no flexing of any kind, as little as you can. So that is important. So as many walls as you can as well. 6, 8 walls. I would say that's the minimum I will suggest for that. All right. Definitely get in there. almost there. We can probably edit this part to make it a little bit faster and less tedious for everyone. All right. We're still going. This is probably a good time to get a drink, you know, get a little break, stretch your legs, splash some water, you know. But we're getting there. We are getting there. All right. We are done with the stabilizer. You can see it in there. It's already installed. Okay. Next step is the RA motor, and is the last step. So for that, what you will need is um, the motor mount. And this one in particular is made for the multi-piece RA wheel. Why? Because this indicator is off to the side. I can zoom in properly. That indicator is off to the side. Um, this one right here. And the other one, if you have the single piece, it's different. So this one, the indicator is in the middle. So that's the main difference between one and the other. Probably you can't see it there too well, but it is there in the middle. All right. So what I will do here right now is, depending what is the what is the angle as well. If you have which RA motor mounts you have, depending on your location. I will say if it's 40 degrees, 20 degrees, 50, and so on. If you have a very long motor, it may hit the bottom of the bottom of the how to call that, bottom of the surface. So you will need to raise it with the M14 screws. So like we did earlier, so the way that this will work is you will insert two screws. So in the way this one is the belt tensioning, and as well consider the position of the connector. If it's facing up, there is a chance that when the RA wheel is spinning, some cable or something will hit it, or will bend it or something. So usually what I do is I put it facing down or maybe to one side, whichever works better for you. I'm going to go with the one at the bottom. So grab one of my screws. In this case, we need uh, M3 screws. Oh, and parallelly, the step. Let's see. No, it is easier for sure if you install this first. Right, parallelly, we need to tweak some of the steps. So that was the reason of creating this guide. One of the reasons it was that. All right, so let's insert that one here. All right, and then the next one on the other side, the opposite corner. I think this one. Okay. So then we will bring this part back, and it goes right here in between these two. So it goes right here. So let's do that right now. So I pre-inserted some of the screws there. So this should just slide in. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Secure the motor so it won't be swinging around. And then you will need the 4 screws here, and the other 2 were for to secure the motor to the mount. So that's what we are going to do right now. And we are getting there. We are getting there, guys. Going to need one more screw. And one more. Same as before, this will cut the thread into the part so it's held in place properly. All right, so the last step is to insert this deck assembly into this. So I will start with the back, aligning this at the back and inserting the back first. If I can, let's see. There we go. And that's it. So as you can see, there it is. It's resting, the wheel is resting onto the bearings. And for sure it will swing to one side because of the weight on the motor. All right, so that's something normal. And as well, something that you need to consider. Something as well that you need to consider is here. Sometimes these don't align properly, right? It can be, I don't know, it could be printing issues, or we misaligned the triangle, or it could be a number of reasons. Right, so sometimes the bearing is too pushed back or too too much at the front. So that's why there are these parts. What this will do, it will push the bearing forward. So then in that way, the path where the belt will go, it will be hard to show perhaps, the path where the belt goes, this path that goes around the RA wheel, it will rest perfectly there. So what you do is remove the bearings, insert it. This spacer, probably this spacer actually is too high. Just 1 second. Here we go. So these spacers, you can adjust them to your needs. So this one, we'll just insert them here. Can. This might be a little too tight. I can just pin it. And then insert the bearing. So similarly here, you would just remove the bearing, insert the spacer right here, and then insert the bearing on top. Right, so in this case, I don't need to do that. This looks pretty good. Something I just realized that I missed is securing this part. I skipped one step in there. So securing these ones right here, I missed that part. So what you need is these little parts. This is what you will need to secure them. So let's do that now. So if I go back to that step, yes, is the holder. So for that, what you will need is the U4 holder. That's what it is called. And you need as well M3s by 12. So you just insert it in here, and it goes on that specific hole. All right, then we will secure it. And that is basically it. And we have it done. We did it. So this is the open after tracker. This is the base completely assembled with the motors, M14 screws, deck assembly, everything. Oh, yes, and Pearl, I should mention right now that I have it assembled. So when you swing up, you can keep going here. You keep swinging up. But then, as you can see here, if you don't push the extrusion forward, then you will hit the RA wheel. This is the reason why there is a specific distance from here at the back. That's why it's 5 centimeters, so you have enough clearance to swing up, so you won't hit the wheel. That's the reason. Right. So little things there that you have to keep always in mind. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and it makes this building of this awesome project easier as well. If there is any feedback, we'll be happy to hear as well in Discord. And thank you so much for your time, and clear skies.